Welcome, Richard. Thank you so much for being here today with us on what's the 35th anniversary of Suzy's disappearance. We can only imagine it must be quite an emotional time for you and all the family. So thank you so much for making the time. We're really grateful to have you here today.
No problem. That's no problem. Actually, really.
Thank you very much. Of course, it was actually through this incredibly sad tragedy that the Suzy Lamplugh Trust was born, through the vision of Paul and Diana Lamplugh, your parents, the trust which has had such an incredible impact on so many people's lives. Before we discuss the trust, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Suzy. Can you tell us what she was like?
Well, she was a really outgoing girl. She just, at that time of her life, she'd been on the QE2 before, and she had a whole year. She went round the world on the QE2 and seen amazing parts of the world and had great experiences. And she was, I think, ready to settle down into London. And of course, London was booming at the time. There was a lot going on. And she decided that she should become a estate agent from being a beauty therapist. I remember her being very pretty. I've seen the photos, and she did, I assume, quite well as a beauty therapist on the QE2. Had some quite good gifts from clients, and yeah, so she decided to settle down and enjoy London life, and it was quite a busy time for her because there was a lot going on. I do remember quite a few parties and sort of times like that. I wasn't really part of the scene down there in Putney where she was living, and also Fulham. But I used to visit quite a few weekends and enjoy that sort of a few get-togethers. It was good. It was great, good times. Yes.
Did you get to see her often when she was down in London?
Yes, when I was down in London, I would see her maybe not every weekend, because it was generally to see my parents as well. But I would, catch up with her. Yeah, it was very nice. It was good to see her. She was a lovely, very nice, outgoing. She was very, I think she was one of my sisters. We obviously, I've got three, or I had three sisters at that time, and she's probably one that I was the closest at that time to. Yes, I would say.
Going back to the trust, Richard, obviously it was an incredibly emotional time, I imagine, for all of you. What was your recollection of that time, of Paul, of Diana, not just of those early years when it was formed, but the subsequent years when the trust became established? I know that there's footage, for example, of Diana working into the late hours for the cause.
Yeah, at the beginning, it was just really, my mum wanted to set up the trust as something good to come out of this tragedy. And very, very early on, she was really needed to challenge her energies into something. And she saw this was a thing that was needed. And she dedicated her life, really, virtually the rest of her life, to the trust. She would travel all over the place, all over Britain, to have do talks and meet people, and she'd be coming back from one place or another, and I would come down for the weekend because I lived in Hertfordshire at the time, or at the beginning anyway, and she would have been going from one place to another. and it was an amazing amount of stuff that she did for the trust. And she really saw this as a great way of channeling energies into a good cause. And yeah,
It,
took over a whole house. The whole trust took the house over as such, because my father was working for the trust as well. So and he was really very much behind the scenes, with my mum as the figurehead. And we had the trust in all. We have a 3-floored house at the time, and the trust's main office was in the 3 rooms at the top, and then there was one room, well, actually 2 rooms down were taken up with the trust. There was my parents' bedroom, and whenever when I visited, I would sleep in one of the trust's offices. And then on the bottom floor, generally where my mum would or my dad would work as well. And so yeah, it was very hectic at the trust. We had I don't know how many people working there, but it seemed about 10 people. It was an amazing amount of stuff. Yeah.
Amazing. More recently, we've been having a bit of a clear out following the return to the office, obviously following the pandemic, and we've obviously amassed huge amounts of paperwork over the last 35 years, and some fantastic documents in there, a real testament to Diana and Paul's work. Letters to and fro from the government, from Tony Blair. She was a really, I think, fierce advocate for personal safety and what she believed in. And it's fantastic, because even now when I speak to stakeholders, many of them actually will remember Diana being at the table and the passion that she brought. She wasn't fearful or sort of jaded by the experience at all.
No, she would go and would meet lots of different people on the subject. And actually, what was lovely was they were willing to meet her as well. And it really, I think they saw it as just a way of getting, I don't know, she was just this figurehead of the organisation, which and I don't know why they wanted to meet her, but I assume it was because of her presence was a lot to do with it. Yeah, it is, as it was. The trust is something that, as far as I'm concerned, is my mum's, one of the things that I've really are so pleased that it continues. Her legacy, I think that's the word I was looking for. Is a fantastic legacy, which I'm so pleased that it continues on. So it's wonderful. Yeah, it's great. Anyway, continue on. Sorry.
No, thank you. Why do you think the trust is still so important today?
Well, it does seem like it is sad that it is, because I always, you always hope, and for most sort of these sort of organisations, you hope you do yourself out of a job as such.
Yeah.
You really hope that things would improve, or that the reason why you were set up would be solved. And a lot of it has been not solved, but a lot of people are very, very aware of their situations. And I think employers nowadays do not put people out on their own, which is fantastic. But there are still issues that for which I think, when we're looking back at Suzy's case and thinking about how she was stalked by John Cannon, or that's what the police think, and it seems likely she was stalked by him. and stalking is still going on, and grooming again. He must have had to groom her to actually get her to feel safe enough to do what he wanted her to do. And so it's still it's so important, because stalking and grooming, and this, as far as I'm concerned, is really a thing that is blighting society. Yeah,
There's still
that's
much to
why
do.
it is important, very, very important. And mini cabs and things like that, getting that all sorted, getting people thinking of their own personal safety is still there. I think because every generation comes on and thinks, oh, we're safe, we can handle it. But of course, there are people out there who think slightly differently, and and everything happening online and all the rest. It's getting. I think it's, well, my worry is it's getting worse than better, and because people are not thinking, and that's why why the trusts need to be there.
There's many changing environments in which we need to
Yes.
continue to be proactive in. What are you actually most proud of, Richard, when you think of the trust? You spoke a little bit about Diana's legacy.
Yes, that's one thing I am very proud of, is my mum's legacy. But I think what I am proud of is that whenever my mum, whenever the trust's name comes up and my name comes up with it, when I'm talking to people, people go, "Oh yes, yes, I changed my practice. Oh, we'd never send people out by themselves." Or yes, and that's what I'm really proud of, is getting the name, getting the thoughts, getting people thinking in the right way. And I think that's what I'm really proud of. And also the trust continuing on its work. Again, I'm really proud of that, because it's just been, well, as you've known, there is always a bumpy road for us, sort of organisations like yourselves are, because of money and everything. But I'm really pleased that it's been able to continue on, and
Richard, thank you so much. I mean, we tried to do justice to Suzy, to your parents' vision, and I think we've achieved a tremendous amount over the last 35 years, but we know that, as you highlighted, there's still so much to do. Do you have any last thoughts or comments that you'd like to share with us at all?
Really, I suppose, a good thought. I was trying to think about this, whether there was any last things to say. I think I've covered virtually everything. What things? It's Mum's legacy, which I'm really pretty proud of, and seeing her hard work all sort of still continuing on. And I think that really we I want to see it continue into the future. Obviously, I would like to see it being dismantled, because of that we have achieved all the goals. But I'm just I can't see that happening in the near future, unfortunately, which is a pity, because I've anyway, that's the way I'm very pleased anyway. Pleased for you, and it's great.
Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you. There is absolutely a huge amount for us to do, but the commitment of the staff team and our stakeholders and our supporters and of yourselves. We know we've got a long journey, but we've definitely got the drive to hope to do that vision justice. So thank you for being here today and sharing some of those thoughts. We really appreciate it.
All right, congratulations.